Hello, hello. I had a little bit of a glitch before. I Okay, I think we're working. Sorry, I had a glitch before. Welcome everybody. Sorry for the sort of late start, but for some reason it kicked me out. So let me just sit tight for a moment while people get online. Alrighty, well, let me get started. And as the viewers come online, I will just have them do a quick hello to say that they're on board. So, hi everybody, my name is Lita Johnson, and I am the owner of Head to Toe Coaching, and I am the primary health coach. And what we do at Head to Toe Coaching is we help people overcome their health obstacles, and that usually translates into helping people navigate their time to know that they can fit health in within busy schedules, knowledge, what do they need to do, how do they do it, what's true, what's myth, and another obstacle is frequently themselves. They need accountability, they need support, they need to get out of their head. So there's a lot of obstacles that we put in our own way for our own journey. And through my own personal health journey, I know that making health changes is hard, it's confusing, and often not maintainable. And it's very clunky in the process, and I just really want to help people accelerate that process and gain and change the trajectory of their health faster. So today's topic is on mindful eating and why we want to do it. And so I always like to talk about a definition of what mindful eating is, and it really is being present while you're eating. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully aligned with the present moment. So when we talk about mindful eating, we are practicing being fully present in the moment when we're eating. And in that process, we're creating awareness around what we're eating, how we're eating, why we're eating. So we'll talk about the benefits of mindful eating. We'll also talk a little bit about the problems with mindless eating, which we all kind of do at times. And then we'll walk away with some tips. So what are some benefits of mindful eating? Ideally, it helps you feel fuller faster because you're aware of what you're eating, and that connection from the brain to your stomach is connected. It's there, so as you eat, you will feel fuller faster. And really, what you're doing is you're creating a better relationship with food. That you're really sitting there and being present while you're eating, and you understand and create an awareness, and therefore always a better relationship with your food. And when you're present with what you're eating, you taste the food that you're eating. You enjoy the process of eating, especially if you're around other people. We kind of joke about European countries and how, it's a 5-course meal and it takes hours to eat. Well, they're very mindful and they're very present when they eat, and it's very social, it's very slowed down, and the connections are really there. So, hello viewers, I know you're coming on. So if you're coming on, sorry I got started on time here. So just give me a quick shout out and say hello. And also share with me what you think mindful eating is as we go through this. Then we'll touch on those. So when we mindfully eat too, there is a connection with why we're eating, what we're eating, and we start changing the how we're eating, the when we're eating, and the where we're eating, and creating an awareness around the food, then without even me suggesting that we start changing the way we eat, we intuitively begin to change the way we eat. Or we actually, even if we don't change what we eat less because we feel fuller, and therefore we're consuming less calories. And I have seen weight loss with people who just begin to mindful eat versus and not change anything about the diet. Now they eventually change the diet as well, but you can have weight loss by not changing your diet and just becoming in tune with what you're eating. When you're mindfully eating, you're more in tune with your hunger versus other feelings. And that's part of the why are you eating. Like, are you eating to suppress feelings? Are you eating because you're bored? What are the reasons that you're eating? Hold on a second. I've got a comment here and I can't seem to see it. I had some problems with my connection earlier. I wonder if that's causing problems here. Oh no. Well, that's a bummer. I can't see. Let me see if I could change my comments. Sorry about this, folks. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Bummer. Sorry about that, folks. I can't see the comments today. So, shoot. So let me go back. I apologize for that. Oh, yep. I keep dropping in and out. That's the comment. Now I can see the comments. Yeah, sorry about, may not be where I'm supposed to be because I started the video and then it dropped. And so I was quickly trying to figure out how to restart it. So, when you become more in tune with your hunger, right, versus the other feeling, versus, the why are we eating? We eat out of boredom. We eat because we're sad. We eat because we're happy. We eat because it's celebration time. We eat for a lot of different reasons. But mindfully eating creates that presence of, I'm hungry, so let me eat. And mindfully eating is far more sustainable than any diet. So with a diet, you're relying on willpower, you're relying on deprivation or an elimination of something. But when you get to this place of mindful eating, it's actually more sustainable. It's a lifestyle and it becomes sustainable. So there's a lot of benefits to mindful eating, along with when you slow down the process of eating. And let me ask a question here is, what is the first step in the digestive process? So I'll wait for you to enter that. So when you eat, mindful eating improves your digestion. And that's because your body is in a relaxed state and your mind is in a relaxed state, and it's not all stressed out. Because when we're stress eating or stressed while we're eating, our body shuts down and takes energy from the digestive process away from the digestive process into that stress mode that you're in. So the first thing that happens in the digestive process is you salivate. And that creates the digestive enzymes to begin to break down the food. And when you eat slowly, It increases the alkalinity of the food, and that might help if you've got acid reflux, heartburn, indigestion, right, bloating even, right? The longer you chew, the less acid that's formed. So if you chew a long time, then you're increasing the alkalinity of the food. And when you chew and chew and chew, and I'm frequently asked, well, how often should I chew? Get the food down, then that's a good clue that you are not mindful eating and that you're eating too fast and the pieces of food are too big, so that you're having to drink water or some other liquid to get that food down. And really, in order to gain the benefits of a healthy diet or the food that you're eating, even if it's not always a healthy diet, but you are eating healthy things in with the diet, if you are not chewing that food correctly, you're not really absorbing all the vitamins and the nutrients or the minerals that are coming out of the food. So when you slow down that process and you chew your food better, you're mindful eating, it really then enables your body to promote growth and repair. Because food is complex, and the nutrients in that food are critical. And if you chop your food too quickly, it may get clogged in the process, or you might just excrete it or poop it out in chunks because you haven't eaten the food correctly. So you really want to take advantage and get as many of the nutrients that are critical for your body. And the best way to do that is through mindful eating and chewing slowly, and also not drinking a lot of water, not drinking alcohol, and not drinking milk or other things that you may when you're sitting down to eat your dinner. We've been told, drink your milk, drink your water, with your meal. Ideally, you should drink your water before the meal, and then while you're eating the meal, really chew your food, enjoy the food, and kind of keep all those liquids to sort of the end. Although I know that a lot of people drink wine, but if it's a very relaxed, leisurely meal with some wine, that's better than inhaling and then trying to take the wine and get that food down. So ultimately, when you're mindfully eating, you're treating food as a nourishment or energy that you're putting into your body, not something that's going to be stuffing yourself or suppressing or allowing you to suppress the feelings that you have. Most often when I work with people, it's that nighttime eating that's a real big problem for people, and they do it out of habit or they do it out of boredom. A lot of people eat out of boredom. And so we've devised some strategies for them that when they go to these foods, and usually when we're stress eating or whatever, we tend to not eat the healthy foods. So those are some benefits of mindful eating, and really that creates the connection and the awareness of what you're eating. So what you're eating is important. How you're eating is the mindful part, right? Are you eating in your car? Are you eating standing up? Are you eating on the couch while you're, watching TV, right? Then when are you eating? Are you eating because you're bored? Are you eating because you're sad? Are you eating because someone told you to eat and you don't feel like eating? Like breakfast is one of those things that it's the most important meal a day, and that's kind of not really true. And I have a lot of clients that don't like to eat in the morning, and so I'm like, well, then don't eat. So when you eat, and sort of that where you eat. So we talked about how and where at the same time. I used to have crackers in my car, thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm like 20 minutes from home. I'm going to starve. I have to have crackers. Well, I've eliminated, and now I have a no eating in the car policy. Although I will caveat that is if I've done a long training day and I know that after a long run or a big workout, I do need to refuel my body, and there is a window of doing that. I will eat in the car, or I'll at least bring it with me and then eat it as part of my recovery. So again, it's not only what you eat, it's how you eat, when you eat, and where you eat. So let's talk a little bit about what happens when we do not mindfully eat. So that means that we're mindlessly eating, right? And what does that look like when we're mindlessly eating? That means that we may pull out a bag of chips and eat it on the couch while we're watching a movie, or we might eat a bunch of popcorn, or we are constantly snacking. And the problem with that is that when you're mindlessly eating, you're just over consuming calories, right? But more importantly than the overconsumption of calories is the disruption that you're creating between the mind-body connection when you're mindlessly eating. So you're decreasing the awareness of the amount of food you're eating. You're decreasing the ability to assess the hunger level that you're at. It increases, therefore, the amount of food that you're eating, and it also increases binge eating. So that disruption that we get between our mind and our body is pretty impactful on our health as a whole, not just from a weight loss perspective, because weight isn't the only indicator of our health. Yes, there's a lot of statistics and measurements that if you're overweight, you're prone to or apt to have more disease than others. And yes, that's true, but you still can be very healthy if you've got a few extra pounds. So we want to keep that connection, that mind-to-body connection. The effect of mindlessly eating, and I kind of like this one, is that your stomach does not have teeth, right? It can't break down the food. So when you're taking a piece of food that's too big, right, your stomach, and you may not, because the whole food process starts with your saliva and the digestive enzymes from that, if you're inhaling food and you're inhaling pieces that are too big, your stomach can't break that down. And undigested food takes more space. So it creates bloating, and it slows down the entire digestive process. So you may have constipation, or you may actually, on the other hand, on the other side of the spectrum, have diarrhea, right? So our bowel movements are a good indicator of how mindful or how mindlessly we're eating. Yes, there's other contributors if you have, other diseases or something else going on, but you should be having daily bowel movements will also be better. And gobbling in stressful circumstances means, I spoke about this a little bit before, that we're diverting energy away from our digestive system. So fewer calories are burned. We slow our metabolism down when we gobble, and we have bigger waistlines because of that. So there's a big reason to not, or to mindfully eat, and to not mindlessly eat. So any questions on that, mindful or mindless eating, and what might be a trigger for you that maybe I can help you navigate, because we'll get into some tips and tricks now. So when we eat, we want to ask ourselves, why am I eating? When am I eating? What do I want to eat? How do I want to eat? And how much do I want to eat? And where do I invest my energy? And I'm always surprised when I start working with people that when we talk about the where they eat, they don't have a dining room table. Actually, I take that back. They have a dining room table, but it's so cluttered with paper and computers, and the dining room table is now an office, that they're not sitting down at a table to eat. Now, single people tend to have a little bit more of a problem with that than married people or families, but I always encourage, regardless of where you are, from single to married and X number of kids, is that you make that dining room table a sacred place to eat. And you make it a place, an enjoyable place to eat, a place that's pretty and nice. And so I've gone and gotten some really nice placemats. In the summer, when our flowers are blooming, I always have flowers on the table. So I create the space at the table as a nice place to sit. Now, I used to have the rule, no TV on. I will admit that the TV's been on much more than usual because it is in the other room and we can see it. I actually don't recommend that, but so we want to create a space to sit down and eat and to enjoy it. We want to take a few deep breaths and perhaps set an intention before you eat to put you in the right state. Some people may say a prayer. I went to a fasting retreat at the beginning of the year. I fasted for 7 days. And when I was reintroduced to eating again, it was with some monks and nuns. And there was a guy who worked there, and he would set an intention before he ate. And I thought, I can do that. So I never thought about an intention. And he was a very interesting young kid, because I call him a young kid because he was only like 25. So that's a young kid to me. But he also talked about when he cooked, that the energy that he put into the cooking and the way he cooked also helped him be present and mindfully eating. And when I cook, sometimes I put stuff on the stove and then I run into the office and get a little bit of work done, and then I run back out, and hopefully I haven't burned anything. But I'm not always present when I cook, and I vowed that when I cook, I'll be present. And then when I eat, I will set an intention. And I've been pretty solid with that since the first of the year. I can't say that my cooking's any better or worse. It's probably the same. I probably get a few less steps in it, but what I am is I'm fully present when I'm cooking. And somehow that's made a difference to my enjoyment in cooking, because cooking used to be stressful for me because I was multitasking and it didn't really work that way. Anyhow, I digressed a little bit. But set an intention, say a prayer, do something to get yourself into the mindset of sitting down and enjoying the meal, and really taking that food in for nourishment and not for other reasons. Smell your food, right? Again, this turns on the salivary glands to get your stomach ready. Chew slowly and steadily, again, until liquefied or it's lost its texture. Swallow that food before taking another bite. So sometimes, even though we're chewing and it's liquefied, we may put another piece of food in our mouth before we've actually even swallowed that. So swallow that. And maybe put your fork down between bites if you're eating too fast. You could count the bites. You could set a timer. We all know about Thanksgiving, right? It takes us hours and hours and hours to bake a turkey and make pies and have all this food. And then we sit down and it feels like it's over in 5 minutes. It just goes way too fast. So, set a timer and say, hey, we're going to sit and enjoy this meal for 10 minutes or, 12 minutes, or just lengthen the time that you're currently doing. I've even had some people do the sand timers, they'll flip it because they were just eating so fast that they weren't even enjoying their food for what might be considered one timer's length of time. Turn off the TV. Don't sit on the couch. Don't eat in the car. Ask yourself, this is critical, right? Ask yourself if you're hungry or if there's something else going on. And if something else is going on, acknowledge those feelings and feel those feelings and work through those feelings. But often we're not present, right? Because present means that we're in the now, we're not in the past, or we're not in the future, right? We're just enjoying our meal right now, whatever that is. Some people even eat with their non-dominant hand. I'd probably have a lot of stains on the front of my shirt if I did that. I'd probably fall off the fork. I love this one. Don't eat straight from the packaging. I'm guilty of that. Take your crackers out, right? Count your crackers. Take a little bowl of chips if you're having chips. Most of the packaging means that we're not eating whole, healthy food. So if you're eating healthy foods and you're eating what I do, like snap peas right out of the packaging, I think that's way better because I probably will never overeat on snap peas. I love them. But I probably should take them, because I eat my snap peas at the countertop out of the bag and I dip it in hummus. That's not mindfully eating. I'm just chowing down, right? So, don't do what I do sometimes. Be totally focused on each sensation that happens while eating, chewing, tasting, swallowing, and savoring each bite. Almonds. And she said, okay, put one almond in your mouth, and before you chew it, feel it in your mouth, right? And I'm like, wow, almonds have ridges. If you put an almond in your mouth and you circle it with your tongue, you'd realize that almonds have ridges and there's a lot of texture to that almond. And I was never aware of that because I would just throw almonds in my mouth and chomp them and not mindfully eat them. So when you slow that down a little bit and really savor the texture and the taste, then that's what mindful eating is. So do I practice mindful eating all the time? Well, as I think I just told you, the answer would be no, because I eat sugar snap peas at the countertop, out of the bag, dip it in hummus. And I have really no awareness of how much I'm eating. Although I'm probably less concerned about overeating snap peas than I might be on overeating potato chips or something like that. So we really want to, with every meal, every snack, mindfully eat. It's a practice. It doesn't mean that you're going to do it every single time, but just do your best. Make it a practice. So I actually ended on time today. Any questions? As questions come in, I will just wrap. So I continue to have the goal of getting in front of 5,000 people to talk about health. I am now at about 1,170 people. I'm super excited. I have a long way to go, so I would love an introduction to anybody. And I offer free health conversations. So if you know anybody who you think could benefit from just having a conversation, that would be awesome. So, no questions? Alrighty, well, thanks for attending. I don't know what next week's topic is, so if you've got one, private message me, shoot me off what you would like me to talk about, and I will give you your evening back. Thank you for joining me, and enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.